very briefly about one of the rules of cinematography or photography, which is the rule of thirds. So, what is the rule of thirds? The rule of thirds is a very simple rule which suggests that you don't want to compose things in too obviously symmetrical a way. It's also called can be called the golden mean or the golden rule, referring to some mathematical principles developed many millennia ago by Greek philosophers. But if you start by imagining your image divided up into 9 equal parts, then the idea is that any important compositional element should be placed at the intersection of these lines. So the tree on the right-hand side of this screen is positioned slightly to the right and not dead set in the center. And the idea is that this is just more harmonious and more pleasing to the eye. So again, if we look at this image taken from Wikimedia Commons, the rock on the left is composed exactly in the middle of the frame, but if we look at the one on the right, it's slightly off to the left, and the one on the right is more visually pleasing, right? It's less symmetrical, but it's more harmonious and it's more attractive to the eye. We look at the image, we look at the rock, and then our eye is invited to move beyond it to the mountains behind. So it's just a more attractive way of staging things. Now, I'm not a mathematician. I don't pretend really to understand this stuff, but here's the idea of the golden mean or the golden ratio. And you can see that a lot of things in nature, in particular seashells, which is obviously delineated here, have this ratio. It's also a ratio that was used in Renaissance architecture, and buildings which are beautiful and harmonious tend to have this ratio. And again, when we're looking, if we apply this to composition, we're just nudging stuff slightly off to one side and not framing stuff completely in the center. This is Jim Mortensen. He's a storyboard artist who talks about the same ideas. So when he does his storyboarding, he's using this grid in order to position the elements of his characters talking to one another in a harmonious and interesting way. So he's applying the same principles to his boards. Here's a few more images taken from Wikimedia Commons. Here's an image of somebody in the snow. Again, we could center this person directly in the middle, but having them just slightly off to the side just leads to a more attractive image. Here's another one, again, Wikimedia Commons. Here's another one down there of a sort of artistic portrayal of a nude at the beach. So that's the golden mean. That's the rule of thirds. As I say, it's one of the rules of cinematography. We don't have to follow these rules. We can break the rules. If you watch a film like The Shining, you'll see that the director Stanley Kubrick breaks this rule all the time because everything is centered in single point perspective. But he's doing that deliberately to create a sense of unease and to slightly destabilize the viewer because of the genre of that film. So these rules can all be broken, but you do want to be aware of them so that when you do break them, you break them deliberately and not by mistake.